Oh, hi there. You must be new here. Come, a little closer. Let me ask you a little question. Do you want to play War Thunder? Yeah. Do you want to spend hours and hours grinding tanks and planes for no benefit whatsoever? Oh, amazing. Well, in that case, you are ready. Let's start this beautiful journey.
Welcome to War Thunder, one of the only games that will make you go
Fuck. Oh, get fucked. Fuck, shit. Pull up, motherfucker. Pull up. Fuck!
we got tank, we got plane, we got fucking NLE chopper, and we got boat. But fuck boats though. Anyways, this game will force you to steal your parents' credit cards so you can progress at least one vehicle further. You might be thinking that I'm joking, but no, this game is specifically designed so you have to spend either money or a lot of time on the game. You want to play modern tank or plane, which has been advertised in the countless video ads on YouTube? Well, too bad. You better get grinding through the whole extensive tech tree. Or there's an easier way of buying your way to top tier with Golden Eagles, which would cost you a minimum wage salary. Now, let me tell you how you can actually progress in the game. You progress by playing the game and researching vehicles using research points. You get research points for doing objectives or eliminating other players. After you've researched a vehicle, you can then purchase it with Silver Lions, which are obtained in a similar way to research points. When you manage to research a certain amount of vehicles in a tier, you can then move on to the next one, and it's just rinse and repeat at that point. But fear not, there are ways to increase the amount of RP and SL you can get from a match. First, there are boosters, which is pretty self-explanatory. Then there are wagers. Wagers are good for quick SL. You basically pay an amount of SL to start it, and then you have to complete a certain amount of tasks a certain amount of times. You can fail those, however, so you can lose the silver lions that you put into it. And the more SL you put in, the bigger the reward. Last but not least, there are game modes. Arcade is the most beginner-friendly, easiest, and most fun to play, but it gives the least rewards. Realistic is a step up. The gameplay is more difficult, but the rewards are also increased. Sim battles give you the most RP and SL, or at least they should. The thing is, not a lot of people play Sim, so you don't have many opponents to kill, and you can team kill, so you can lose Silver Lions. Look at you, now you understand the basics of the game. Now, what can I teach you? Ah, yeah, right. I present to you So, ground battles. They weren't always in the game. On release, War Thunder was a planes-only game. Only after 4 years, Gaijin decided to add in tanks. Thank God. And I am here to talk about them a little bit. So, let's start with the classes. There's heavy tanks, good armor, good gun, but terrible mobility. Medium tanks, decent armor, decent gun, decent mobility. Kind of a jack of all trades, master of none type thing. Light tanks, what's armor? Good gun most of the time. And speed. Tank destroyers. Well, there are actually two types of tank destroyers, armored and non-armored, but they share the similarity of having an amazing gun with decent mobility. However, most of the time their horizontal turret traverse is very limited. And anti-air. Because fuck planes. Wait, what? Planes in ground battles? I hear you thinking. Yes, planes in ground battles. In every game mode for ground battles, be it arcade, realistic or sim, you can spawn planes. It's known as CASing, aka Combat Air Support. And if you play it, you're a subhuman piece of shit that should be rotting in the deepest pits of hell for all eternity. Anyway, let's get back to the tanks. As far as I know, there's at least 2 types of shells in ground battles. Some notable mentions are kinetic shells. They go through things. Armor-piercing cap, armor-piercing ballistic cap, armor-piercing cap, ballistic cap, armor-piercing high-explosive, armor-piercing high-explosive, ballistic cap, armor-piercing high-explosive, cap, ballistic cap, anti-concrete shells, semi-armor-piercing high-explosive, cap, ballistic cap, semi-armor-piercing high-explosive, incendiary, armor-piercing composite widgets, armor-piercing discarding sable, armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarding sable. Chemical shells. They go boom on impact. High-explosive time fuse, high-explosive variable time fuse, high-explosive grenade, anti-personnel fragmentation grenade, rocket, shrapnel, high-explosive squash head, high-explosive anti-tank, fin-stabilized, high-explosive anti-tank, multi-purpose, high-explosive anti-tank grenade, anti-tank guided missile, overflight top attack, anti-tank guided missile, proximity fuse, anti-tank guided missile, talent charge, anti-tank guided missile, high-explosive, and smoke.
Yeah, that's quite a few. Not every tank has access to every round, and every shell has different stats, such as speed or penetration. So not all shells are suited for all situations, so I suggest messing around with them a little bit in test drive before getting at it. Or don't. Your choice. That was more or less what you can use in ground battles. But how does one play ground battles? You play ground to get kills and or do objectives. Some objectives can be capturing a point, capturing multiple points, or capturing the enemy base. All of those will give you a reward in RP and SL. Yeah, so that was pretty much everything for ground battles. Now we can move on to air battles, the OG game. There's been a constant fight between ground and air players since the dawn of time about which game mode is superior, which is fucking stupid. We all know that helicopter PvE is the GOAT of game modes. But in all seriousness, air battles are something completely different. 1. Different vehicles. Duh. 2. Different pacing. And 3. Different objectives. Let's start with the vehicles. Just like in ground battles, there are different types of classes, but instead of having different stats and such, their roles in the match are completely different. You have, for example, fighters. They fight other fighters to win air superiority. Strike aircraft. Their role is to eliminate ground targets. Bombers are there to, you might have guessed it, bomb the enemy bases. And last one I'm gonna talk about are interceptors. Their role is to intercept bombers so that they can't bomb any bases. Now, I know I said ground targets, but I don't mean player ground targets. Unlike how you can spawn planes in ground battles, you cannot spawn tanks in air battles. The ground targets are all AI, and killing them gives you silver lines and research points. Other ways of gaining silver lines and research points are, for example, bombing bases, killing AI planes, which there are as well, or the standard option, eliminating other players. Depending on the type of aircraft you choose, you will do different things. Because trust me, killing players with a bomber isn't that easy. Unfortunately, there isn't much variation when it comes to actual game modes themselves, like there is in ground battles where you have to either capture points or multiple points or whatever. But the diversity in roles makes up for that. Are you bored of fighting? Bomb a little. Are you bored of bombing? Hit ground targets. You're almost always forced to play some different role, purely because of the way the tech trees are put together. Lastly, in realistic air battles, you have only one shot. You can only bring one plane with no respawn, so if you die, you have to move on to the next match. That brings me to pacing. It's a lot slower than playing ground, because you have to find a match, load in, take off, get to the enemy, and only then the action begins, which is very often very short-lived. It's not all bad though. It is quite relaxing. If you're trying to play casually, I recommend playing some bombers. And don't play fighters if you get triggered easily. One more thing I will add is the progression. Just like with all other modes, you start with early planes and move on to modern ones. In air battles, however, the difference is much more noticeable than in other game modes. You got missiles, radar, and all sorts of new technologies that you have to learn as you go, which makes it very fun if you're up for a constant challenge. As far as I know, that was more or less the basics of air battles. So now for the final segment.
I did my time and I went out. So abused and afraid, it doesn't cut. The soul is not so vibrant. The reckoning, the sickening packaging subversion, pseudo-sacred thing perversion.
So, Helis and Boats. They don't actually have anything to do with each other, except for one thing. They're like that one kid in high school whose presence alone is annoying. No one, except for like 4 people, actually takes these game modes seriously. Helis are there just to be played in ground battles, so they're basically there to make ground players miserable. You can play PvE, but it's in my opinion the most boring thing you can do in War Thunder. Boats were added as a separate game mode, but I find the gameplay just way too repetitive. I have no hate towards any of them. Okay, that's a lie, I hate Helis. I have no hate towards Boats. It's just a game mode that rarely gets played, even by me. Unfortunately, I can't give you any in-depth info like I did with Aero Ground, purely because, as I said, I have barely any experience with them. Maybe in a separate video, after I've suffered enough through those game modes, I can give you a little bit more info, but not today. I added this part purely because I want you to be aware of the existence of those game modes and that you can, experiment with them and play them if you want. Because in the end, this is a short, but quote-unquote full guide. But anyway, that was it. I truly hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. The zombie apocalypse is coming.